in a square, just one square. She didn't give you a roll. She didn't give you 2 squares. She gave you 1 square of toilet paper. Hi everybody, and welcome back to Killer Concepts, the place where we talk about all things true crime. My name's Peyton. If you have not done so already, make sure to hit that red subscribe button down below and turn on your post notifications so that you do not miss a thing. So as I said, every other week now we are going to do a video on strange, funny, and weird crimes, and so we are back at it again this week. I enjoyed it so much last week, and a couple of you told me that you did as well, and so let's get started. So what I did this week is I searched for strange crimes, and I found crimes that just had really weird, bizarre, and strange titles to them. I have not read them. There is one story at the end that I have heard previously, and I just wanted to share it with you because it's just ridiculous. But so I am going to be reading these to you, and I will link all the sources down below if you want to see the articles for yourself. But they just have ridiculous titles and they seemed very intriguing. So the majority of stories that I found for this week were from Oxygen, and the title of this one is Man Who Posed as Special Needs Patient So Home Nurses Would Change His Diapers, Sentenced for Perverse Deception. Now, it's never funny to pretend to be somebody with special needs, but this one, honestly, this isn't something you hear of very often, so I had to read it. So the subtitle reads, Rutledge Dees V pretends to be disabled and received sexual gratification from having his caretakers change his diapers. Well, this is weird. So apparently on the week of December 16th, 2020, a judge sentenced Rutledge Dees V to 5 years of probation and 400 hours of community service, in addition to having to maintain employment and to have to attend addiction counseling via the internet, obviously because COVID-19 has been going on and he was not allowed to use social media. And this is after he pled guilty to perverse deception. So apparently Louisiana State Police arrested 29-year-old New Orleans resident Dees in November 2019 following reports that he was using the internet to engage in fraud and later commit sexual battery. Apparently through the course of the investigation, police learned that Dees had advertised on social media to find a home healthcare worker to look after his disabled 18-year-old brother Corey. However, once the workers arrived, he would pretend to be Corey and he would have the women change his diapers, which apparently aroused him sexually. One of the victims provided that she had seen him on 10 separate occasions, and then eventually she would realize what happened and she reported him to the police. So then when the police arrested Dees at his home on November 12th, 2019 without any incident, he was charged with 10 counts of sexual battery, 10 counts of human trafficking, and 1 count of possession of a controlled dangerous substance. Apparently 2 of the women did not find out about what had went on until after his actual arrest. And that is when they would realize that it was just some perverse sexual habit that he had at the time. Apparently his lawyers claimed that he suffered from issues related to substance abuse, and he had also had poor mental health because he had sexual trauma from his childhood. So yeah, that one's not, I wouldn't say that's a funny crime, but that definitely falls in the weird and strange category of this video. Okay, so here's another article that was written in April 10th, 2020 by Dorian Geiger for Oxygen, and this one is titled Florida Woman Allegedly Stuffed Multiple Mailboxes with Disgusting Porn-Filled Easter Eggs. I know some people might not think this is funny, but just the title of this one, I couldn't even believe that I had read it. And the subtitle is, quote, "In my career, I don't think I've seen anything quite this bizarre, especially around Easter," end quote. A Florida County sheriff told Oxygen. Okay. I think I'm gonna like this one. Oh, and they wrote it well too. On April 6th, Jessica Nageldinger's family received an unwelcome Easter surprise in their mailbox of their home in Florida. Apparently, earlier that day, her brother-in-law discovered a toy Easter egg in their mailbox, and what they found inside it would surprise them very, very much. Quote, "The last thing I did expect to see when opening an Easter egg would be pornographic pictures," end quote. Nageldinger, 31, told Oxygen it was just random and weird. Apparently inside the egg, the family had found Skittles candy, goldfish crackers, a square of toilet paper, and a tiny scroll of religious writings, alongside images of a naked woman and 2 men having sex. Beneath the graphic images was an artistic rendering of a Roman soldier spearing a crucified Jesus Christ. Okay, that's just even more bizarre. So it wasn't just pornography, it seems to have some kind of religious aspect, as well as, for some reason, Skittles, candy, goldfish crackers, and a square. Just one square. She didn't give you a roll. She didn't give you 2 squares. She gave you 1 square of toilet paper. The mom then said, quote, "It was horrifying group sex stuff. It was disgusting. Our concern is we have 5 children under the age of 10 that check the mail," end quote. I could definitely see that. I used to run out and check the mailbox all the time for my parents. And yeah, you wouldn't want them to open that Easter egg, would you? Apparently, a day earlier, Nageldinger recalled seeing a gray Honda cruise down the block. She saw a person get out and place something in her sister's mailbox. By that time, it didn't seem suspicious. But then when the car reappeared on the block, April of 2020, she immediately called the authorities. So apparently the messenger of these pornographic Easter eggs was April Sestoni. She was a 43-year-old woman, and she was arrested on Florida Parkway by Flagler County Sheriff's deputies not long after. And apparently she was charged with 11 counts of distributing obscene material. Yeah, I mean, it's pornographic images and you're putting it in people's mailboxes. There is a picture of what was in these Easter eggs. Okay, so it wasn't Skittles that was in there with the goldfish. It was a Skittles drink, which I didn't even know they had. Apparently, Sestoni had admitted to delivering the pornographic eggs and religious pamphlets, and she went on a homophobic rant about quantum and magnetic field, sexually transmitted diseases, and the Bible before deputies would arrest her. All of this can be found on body camera footage that was caught of her with the police. So apparently what I'm reading from what she said to the authorities is that she had a problem with gays and lessons about gays being taught in church and in the class of church. She said that they were rewriting Bibles, and so that apparently upset her and somehow turned into her putting stuff in these Easter eggs, including pornographic picture. Now, when you look at this pornographic picture, it's not what I originally thought it would be when I saw the title of this that made me laugh so bad. It's actually like a really small picture that is on the pamphlet, I guess, that she gave. So I guess it's a religious picture, but it's very odd. It's very, very strange. So as I said previously, I will link these down below. There is more to her story. They went quite in depth to it and as to what she said, but we are moving on to the next one. So now I am ready to talk about the next one that I found on Oxygen, and this is probably the last one for that, which is under the weird classification. And just trigger warning to anyone who has suffered domestic abuse or knows anybody anybody who suffered domestic abuse. There is some physical violence going on in this one. Just, I could tell by reading the title, so I just wanted to give you a forewarning of that. So the title of this one is Man Allegedly Choked and Headbutted Girlfriend After She Complained of His Horrible Fart. Okay, the subtitle again only gets better. Christopher Ragsdale allegedly flew off the handle after his girlfriend called him out for his fetid flatulence. So while it is never funny to abuse, hit, or hurt someone, I can't help but laugh that he basically got mad because she said he was disgusting because he was gross. So, yeah. I'm sorry, his picture's even better. Gosh, this is just like the guy who was in the chimney in my last video and he was covered with something. His picture just like, he looks confused. He looks confused. I mean, he looks confused. Now to the story. So Christopher Ragsdale allegedly choked and headbutted his girlfriend for protesting his horrible fart. This was according to an affidavit obtained by NBC affiliate KFDX TV. He was booked by Wichita Falls Police and charged with assault. So shortly after 2 p.m. on January 5th, law enforcement was dispatched to Cranbrook Lane on the south side of the city regarding a domestic dispute. The woman victim, who wasn't identified by authorities, told police officers that she was relaxing in the living room of a friend's house with Ragsdale when he allegedly dropped a potent methane bomb. That's good writing. Good to the writer. You know, that's just very creative. Good for you. When she objected to the unpleasant scent, Ragsdale allegedly became enraged and began attacking her. One thing I do want to stop and mention, like I said already, it's never okay to hurt somebody. The concern with this, that she apparently objected to what he had done, even with how small it was, he began attacking her. That concerns me on whether or not there is domestic violence in their relationship in general, because this doesn't sound like a one-time type of thing if he just flew off the handle and she called the police. So apparently the arrest report claimed, quote, she told Christopher that his fart smelled horrible and he got mad. He grabbed her by the hair and pulled her to the ground, end quote. Apparently, he then wrapped his arms around her neck and began to choke her. She told investigators that she could barely breathe. The woman's friend, who told police she was home at the time of the assault and unsuccessfully tried to intervene, and said an irate Ragsdale was shouting and got in the victim's face before headbutting her in the forehead in the woman's hallway. And so it was actually the woman's friend who would call the police. When the authorities got there, they observed red marks on the woman's neck and forehead and arrested Ragsdale upon arrival. The Wichita County judge set his bond then at $10,000 on Monday. So while the reason that this whole argument happened is funny, the whole situation is not funny, and I want to make that very clear that I do not believe that it is. And I also want to tell anybody out there who may suffer from domestic violence or anything even remotely similar to it, or you think you may suffer from domestic violence, I will leave you with the domestic violence hotline down below, and just never be afraid to reach out to somebody if you need help or are in a bad relationship or bad situation, because there is always somebody there for you. That face was because I just found our next story. I also found crimes that happen in my home state of Pennsylvania, a huge list. A lot of these are in the Lehigh Valley area, and I just had to read some, and as I'm going down this list, I just found a great one, and it's called Baby Squirrel Bait and Switch. And there's a picture of a baby squirrel. Poor little guy. So it says, residents didn't know quite what to make of Angelo Vasquez when he started knocking on doors in the Bethlehem neighborhood looking for help for his sick baby squirrel, which is really sad. Police responded to the report of a suspicious man, and when they got there, the 25-year-old Allentown man apparently dropped the squirrel, and then he bit two of the officers and had to be shocked with a taser when he refused to be arrested. Police believe that he was actually using the squirrel as a ploy to burglarize homes. So apparently when the police looked at the squirrel, he was already dead. Hoping he found him that way. You know, I hope he didn't do that to the squirrel because it didn't deserve that. And apparently a slew of charges are pending against Vasquez in Northampton County Court. Weird people. Okay, so I'm not doing a ton of stories this time because some of them were a little bit longer, and then we just had the last one which was really short. But I want to end on another squirrel story. This one is a squirrel that was alive when it happened, and this is something that I had heard about at an end segment of a podcast that I listened to, and I actually found the story and I thought it was so cute and funny that I had to share it with you guys. So here we go. This article is on USA Today. It says it's by the Associated Press, and you can find it on multiple platforms. So please look it up. I will link this one down below, but look it up if you just want to see a really cute squirrel. But here we go. So an Alabama fugitive who fed meth to pet attack squirrel named D's Nuts arrested after car chase. This was written June 28th, 2019. This story takes place in Killen, Alabama. An Alabama man who denied feeding methamphetamine to so-called attack squirrel he considered a pet has been arrested on new charges. Apparently, the Limestone County Sheriff's Office tweeted that 35-year-old Mickey Polk was caught Thursday night following a chase in which he rammed an investigator's vehicle. Apparently, authorities had been seeking Polk on multiple felony warrants unrelated to the squirrel he named D's Nuts. This squirrel's cute too. D's Nuts. That's really original. Good for you, Polk. He was made infamous after police said they were warned about a meth-fueled squirrel that had been trained to attack. Polk told the Associated Press last week that he was working on a plan to turn himself into the authorities. Apparently, they were surveilling him at a motel in Killen. It was all about a narcotics investigation, and they saw him leaving on a stolen motorcycle, and they ended up chasing him down. Polk has been booked into the Lauderdale County Jail on charges of attempting to elude, criminal mischief, receiving stolen property, and felon in possession of a pistol after it was discovered he had a .45 caliber handgun in his waistband. And I know what you're thinking. What happened to the squirrel D's Nuts? It says, as for D's Nuts, authorities say he couldn't be tested for meth and has been released. Other stories I have heard about D's Nuts, the squirrel, said that apparently Polk was very interested in seeing him at some other point in time or having him housed for the reason that this squirrel had become so comfortable with humans because he literally, it was his like pet. The squirrel was with him all the time. Okay guys, so that's all I have for you today. Thanks for coming and watching me talk and read about strange, weird crimes. I can't believe people would do some of these things. My favorite is still probably that the woman put pornography in Easter eggs because that's just weird, and we're coming up on Easter now and it's dumb. It's dumb. I don't understand it. And remember that I am going to be doing these every other week, so make sure to hit that red subscribe button down below so that you do not miss it. Always have your post notifications on, and it will let you know anytime that I post a video. On top of that, next week I will be doing another true crime video, and for those of you who prefer those are every other week as of now. I would like to start getting back into them every single week, but we will see what I can do because my schedule has been super busy, and I'd rather be honest with you and not schedule something and then not be able to make the deadline. And so if you like these funny crime videos, make sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think of them, and then also leave me case suggestions on these and my true crime cases. You can send them to killerconceptsvlog@gmail.com, and you can also direct message me on Instagram. Don't forget to follow that. I post updates constantly, and if you just have any questions, send me an email. Before you go, remember that the world's most dangerous minds hide in the most unlikely places. Stay safe and have a great weekend.